Welcome everyone on the recap of the third round of Menorca Chess Open. KosakChess here, and exhausting day, I have to admit, on the very beginning, because it was the second game of it was the second game of today, and I faced number one of Belgian chess, the prodigy, the youngster who is aspiring for a uh, for a top chess, top world chess list, if I can say like this. He's also an European bronze medalist. He got this medal in 2023. Yes, in the last European Championship. Daniel Dardha, a guy who achieved Grandmaster title when he was like 14 or 15, so very young age, and already 26-30. Recently, he won a strong round robin in Germany. Well, in general, prodigy, super talent, and it was a pleasure to play against this guy. But let's have a look how the game went on. He started with knight f3. I knew from the very beginning that he isn't generally mostly focusing on the opening preparation. He just put some random position, and then he trusts uh, his chess strength, and he just wants to play chess. He just wants to set up normal position and to play chess. Knight f6, g3, c5. I just decided to go for this position, bishop g2, knight c6, because I believe that in general I have uh, a really easy plan to put the pawns on e5, c5, controlling the d4 squares. So I am also limiting his possibilities, and also d5 in the future. If I manage to put such three pawns, it would be amazing position. That's why he played the move e4, which is really interesting. Might look strange because it closes the bishop, but in general, this move controls the center. Of course, I analyze this game without the engine. After the game, I would surely check it with the engine. I forgot to do it in the last video, so I am sorry about it. But I just forgot about it. After e4, I just decided to play bishop e7 to develop normally. Knight c3, d6. Of course, I would be scary of playing d5, e d5, knight d5, knight d5. I believe because of these tactics, I am losing material. So I play d6 and d3. And okay, this position might look safe, might look normal, uh, but it was the moment when I started to think, what should I do? Of course, I knew that the normal move should be castle, or the normal move should be bishop e6, or the normal move should be h6, what occurred in a game. But I played h6 after like 10 minutes maybe of thinking. Why? Because I was searching for a plan, and I couldn't really find out what would fit me the most. Uh, After the castle, I didn't like ideas that he at some point, plays bishop g5. He exchanges the bishop, for example, h6, bishop f6, bishop f6, knight d2, and I am with this strange bishop on f6 with all the pawns on the dark squares. There is no chance that I can activate him in the nearest future. So I didn't like it, and I remember from another structure that this h6 move is useful in order to not allow him to exchange his bishop. So I believe that h6 move is pretty normal. He plays knight d2. He wants to transfer this knight via c3 to e3 and then to put him on d5. Additionally, he wants to prepare the f4 move, which is a normal idea in these structures. And again, 10 or 15 minutes of thinking, I wasn't really sure what I want to do there. I was losing this time, and after this 10 or 15 minutes of thinking, I was doing pretty normal move which probably I would blitz out if I was playing, for example, a blitz game. I am sure that the move I played, rook b8, in blitz game, I would play maybe after 10 or 20 seconds of thinking, because if I know that he wants to play knight c4, I want to prepare b5. So rook b8, really natural move, but 15 minutes of thinking, and 15 minutes has already gone. So the first mistake I can admit is probably that I was burning the time for apparently no reason. This is the first serious mistake I think I did in this game. Um, yeah, rook b8 sounds reasonable for me. After the castle, I wasn't sure what to do after f4. Then he plays knight c4. He puts some pressure. I didn't really want to, put the king on the king side if he plays f4 because I just didn't want to give him the sign that I already, decided where I put my king. Maybe I will, I don't know, put it on the long side or just keep it in the center. I just didn't want to do it right now. That's why I played rook b8, knight c4, b5, knight e3. Okay, now I now I did castle because I couldn't really find out any other move. If I want to develop this bishop by playing bishop e6, there's already f4. F e5 with knight f5 ideas, or maybe just pushing f5, kicking off this bishop. I just didn't like it to put it on e6. That's why I decided to go for a castle. But he plays f4, and probably, to be honest, uh, now he had a time advantage like 30 minutes, half an hour over there. And, I played pretty normal and reasonable moves. And I completely didn't know what to do. Because if I, for example, stay and do nothing, like let's go a6, he can just take and play knight f5, bishop f5, rook f5, bishop e3, queen d2, rook f1, this f file, this d5 square. This pawn structure is horrible. He can play knight d5 in any time he wants. Uh, no, I just didn't like this position. So I knew that I need to be quick at some point, and that's why I played b4 to to put some, maybe not resistance, but to ask him some questions. Where do you want to go with this knight? Obviously, he went on d5 on the most active square. I took the knight because this knight is disturbing me. It doesn't really do nothing on this f6 square. Additionally, maybe I want to push f5 in order to gain some activity. He took with the pawn, which surprised me because I was mainly calculating knight d5, and this was probably the position I would still think what to do next. Because again, after bishop e6, he can take on e7, and after queen e7, f5, f6 ideas. The same thing happens after knight e7, f5, f6. So bishop e6 doesn't work. I was considering the move f5, but it opens the diagonal for this bishop, and bishop f5, knight e3. I have to come back to d7. He can even play f5 just to, size space and to limit the possibilities of my bishop. He can play maybe he can maneuver in pretty easy way. Bishop e4, queen g4, make some pressure on g7 square, bishop h6 in the air. Yeah, like it was really sad. Like I was already sad in this position because I was making moves with no apparent idea. I was just making moves to maybe not to survive because it's too big word. But yeah, my moves were played without an idea, which is not a good sign, unfortunately. But I couldn't really find out any good idea. I just don't understand this structure because, I played this move c5 because of the fact that I was following the games of some top grandmasters, and I thought that this position would fit me if I managed to put these three pawns next to each other. But if he closed the center, of course he doesn't have any advantage. I am sure that the position is equal, but I don't understand it. Like the d5 square is under his control. My bishop is located next to the pawns which are on the dark squares. This pawn structure is actually really hard for me to assess and to understand it. So maybe it was the second mistake that I went for the position that I don't understand. The position is closed. I am in general the player who likes open and active positions. I like when my pieces have the space. As you can see, my pieces don't have space at all. The position is closed. It doesn't mean the position is bad, but the character of the position doesn't really suit me. And now if I am talking to myself, I am wondering why I went for this position. I can't answer. I can't answer because I don't know. I don't know. It was just a stupid choice of the choice of the opening. I believe the position is closed, and I just don't know what to do. So I am happy that I exchanged something, and this is what I am doing. I am opening the position to change the character of the position and to put the conditions of this position a little bit on my favor. He took on c6. This was the move which really surprised me because I was mainly considering knight c4, after which I would play knight e5 and bishop for knight c4, dc4, and we would play such position when he should be better because of the fact that this bishop is more active. He attacks this d6 pawn, and uh, this is a big weakness which I have to worry about during the whole game, most probably. But he played dc6, fe3, bishop e3, and well, okay, the position opened, so already I was happy. I was happy about it. This pawn on c6 for me looked dubious, but he assessed the position in a little bit different way. He thought that this pawn is a free pawn. Of course, it's true, uh, but I didn't believe that this pawn might really make a difference in this position. But okay, like I didn't really care right now. I just played bishop e6. This is actually a tricky move because now if he wants to open the position by playing d4, of course the d5 is the threat, and also after cd4, queen d4, he gets a lot of space. This d6 pawn is weakness. This pawn is weakness. He can double on the d file. He has great advantage because of the fact that he's on great space. But after d4, I believe I prepared amazing move d5, which just which doesn't allow him to play d5 itself. And if he takes the pawn, I can just attack it by playing queen c7. No, maybe not queen c7 because bishop f4. Sorry, rook c8 was my intention, and just to grab this pawn, then to grab this pawn. Black is perfectly fine. Uh, so he played queen h5. This was the move I saw, and I played bishop g5. Just to exchange pieces and to activate a little bit my pieces to put them on the more active squares. I was mainly expecting rook a e1, after which I was about to play rook c8, then to prepare d5 at some moment, just to close the communication with this bishop, the bishop with this pawn, and then in the next few moves, if I manage to take this pawn, I would be really happy. But instead, he just took the bishop on g5, and I was really surprised because queen g5, queen g5, h g5, I exchange queens, so my king is no longer in any danger. I can get mated. This c6 pawn, of course, it is located far away. It is 2 pawns of the promotion, but uh, for him, it is really hard to push this pawn. My target is right now to play rook c8, d5, and just take this pawn. But then he played a3, and this is actually a tricky position. I was, already after the before the move a3, I had like half an hour on the clock, and he was like 40 several minutes. I don't remember it now. But this is tricky because he wants to open the rook, he wants to activate it via the a file, and then if he manages to do it, this pawn might become actually a great power. And I was starting to calculate. B takes a3. Okay, if he takes, I take on b2. So he plays b3. If I play rook c8, rook a3, and d5, then he might have even the move c4. This d5 move in general is good to close the communication, but whenever I play d5, he has this c4 idea. And I need to somehow deal with it. After dc4, now this is really hard for me to take care of this pawn, and he can easily play rook a7. He can occupy the d file. He doesn't have any problems. So b3 for me didn't work. Okay, so I was calculating rook b8. Sorry, rook fc8. to develop the last piece and also to prepare d5. So a b4, rook b4, b3 again, and after d5, c4 again. This c4 move was really annoying because I don't really want to open this diagonal. If I do it, this pawn is really strong and is disturbing me, and also this a file is still under the control of my opponent. So I tried to invent a new idea. I played rook fc8. That's what I showed you. A b4, but I took on b4 with the pawn. The idea is that after he plays rook a7, which occurred in a game, I played d5, and after c4 move, I prepared the en passant, yeah, b takes c3. Well, maybe in this position I have even d takes c4, but it doesn't really matter. My main goal was to prepare b takes c3 if he manages to play c4, and I was really happy that I created something like this, because now he has to defend this pawn. If he plays c7, which is the first way which comes to our mind to defend this pawn, I play rook b6 with the idea of rook c6 and taking this pawn, and also I make a pressure on the c2 square. Well, if he plays, I don't know, yeah, he can play c4, but uh, I can just play en passant, bc3, rook c6, and after c4, now I have time to get out of this pin. I can even play something like, or no, this was the variation I was actually afraid of. Yeah, because after rook c5, bishop d5, bishop d5, c d5, rook d5, rook f7, and these rooks are annoying. So yeah, I was calculating something after this c4. Probably I can just, what can I do? I don't remember now what I can do. Yeah, bc3, bc3. bc3 and rook b2. It was my intention to put the rook on the second file. I don't know if it's good or not, but I prepare rook. The idea is, let's make some awaiting move. Um, for example, yeah, let's maybe pretend h3. Let's go with it. If I take the pawn, he plays c4. Now the difference is that I have the rook on the on the second file. So I can play rook c5, dc5, bishop c5, bishop d5, rook d5, and if he takes the pawn on f7, I can take the pawn on d3 and also create my own mate ideas. So this was probably the variation I calculated. Sorry, I don't remember it, but it's already late and I am a little bit tired and don't remember everything. Yeah, probably rook b2. It was the variation I calculated, but he played a smart move, which I also saw during the game, and this is the move rook a6 to protect this pawn by this way. It might look strange because this rook on a7 is really active and it attacks the f7 square, but the more important is this pawn, which stays on the c6 and which might be defended with this bishop. But I saw rook a6 and I prepared rook c7, followed with rook c8 and rook c6. And also, after c4, I can take on c4, d4, bishop c4, double attack. So he plays c3, a tricky move. And probably there, I should take on c3. I am not sure entirely yet, but well, I was afraid that if I exchange pawns and if I open him the b file, I didn't like a variation like this: rook b1, rook c6, rook c6, rook c6, and c4. Again, the pressure. If I play rook d6, c5, and d4, and this pawn is free, and I might lose this game. And after rook c5, I have something like rook b5. And calculating this position, I saw something like this: bishop d7, b6, bishop c6, king f2, king f8, king e3, king e7, king d4, king d6. But uh, maybe it's even a draw. Maybe this is even an easy draw. But to assess it correctly with this pawn on b6, with the fact that he can just have fun, he can maneuver really easily, he can transfer his pieces, bishop c3, bishop h3, bishop c. This is what I see. I think I can only suffer there. Maybe objectively this is a draw, but I have I have really no idea But because of the fact that I am opening some files, I just played instead of taking on c3. I thought I was smart, and I played rook c8. Now, if he takes the pawn on b4, I play rook c6. If I manage to exchange this rook, I am really happy. I am not worried that I am pawn down. I will probably recapture this pawn in the future by playing rook b6 or something. For example, rook a1, rook b6, rook a4, king h7 with the idea of bishop d7. If the rook goes somewhere, I can take the pawn. So for sure, I get some compensation. If the rook goes on a7, I can play rook c2, and because of activity of my rook, I am most probably taking the pawn on b2 and put another rook on the second file. The compensation is obvious there. But he played a move which really surprised me. He played c4. You see, he played c3, and after my move, he played c4. And yeah, like at first glance, I couldn't really believe what I see, because what is after taking on c4? The idea is to play d4, and I am in trouble. And I am in trouble. Rook d8, because he wants to play push d5 d6. And I was, after this d4 move, I was already playing on seconds. So the another mistake, of course, is a bad time management, because this is a move number 25, and I am already playing on 1 minute with 1 minute on the clock. There is no time control after move 40. So now I know that on the very end of this game, I am just playing on seconds, which isn't a good idea to to play against these 2600 players. Oh, against anyone. I don't recommend it to be low on time. He played rook d8 and he plays d5. And the thing is, if I take with the bishop, he can pin my bishop by playing rook d1. Even pushing something like c3, bc3, bc3, rook d5, bishop d5, c2 doesn't work, rook a1, rook c1, he comes back, he wins. So I knew that after d4, rook d8, d5, rook d5, I had to play. And there is a difference, because after bishop d5, if I would somehow manage to take this pawn, I would be I would be happy. I think I would hold it. But the thing is that he has this b2 pawn. Okay, why is this important? Uh, it is important because of this move rook f5. I will tell you in a second why is this important. Because after rook f5, I was quickly calculating rook bishop c6, rook c5, bishop b7, rook c7, bishop a6, rook a7, bishop b5. He can't trap my bishop. But after this rook b7, bishop c6, rook b4, bishop b5, rook b5, and I lose the pawn, and the endgame is lost. He just moves the king to d4, sacrifices the exchange for the winning pawn endgame, and it's GG. Uh, why is this pawn important? Because of the fact, because, well, I told you that instead of playing rook bc8, I could take the pawn on c3. And if we go to the very same variation, like rook bc8, uh, c4, dc, yeah, c4, dc4, d4, rook d8, d5, rook d5, bishop d5, bishop d5, rook f5. I have bishop c6, rook c5, bishop b7, and he can take the pawn on c4. But I think I should hold this position. I should hold this position. This should be a draw. I just put the king on g6 and I just stay and do nothing, right? But with this pawn, with the pawn on b2, he can grab my two pawns, or at least he can exchange pieces in a favorable way. And because of this fact that this pawn is there and this pawn is there, because this is also the weakness, and this pawn on b4 is also the weakness. In that variation I showed you earlier, I am just getting rid of these weaknesses. Now these weaknesses are on the board, and I am just losing the endgame. Maybe this was the difference. Maybe this was the reason that I didn't hold this endgame. Because after bishop e4, with what I played. He played rook c5. With 1 second on the clock, I played king h7. He just moved his king, king f5, f5, king e3. And I just resigned because I know that I can't make any progress. If I push c3, he takes. If I push the pawn, he can just stop it. This pawn is still annoying, and this pawn won a game. Let's have a look. He just he went for this idea in the move number 14. He played d takes c6, and 20 moves later, it turned out that this pawn is a it was the reason that he won the game. Because of this pawn, I had to regroup all my pieces to stop him. I was doubling my rooks. I played rook bc8 just to take this pawn, but I couldn't do it because he always had the c4 idea. To be honest, I don't know what to say about this game because I have a strange feeling that I don't know what I did wrong. Yeah. Well, I know that what I could do better, I could go for a different position, for a different structure in the opening, because I went for a structure that I didn't really understand. My pieces didn't have any space. It doesn't mean that the position is bad or something, but the fact that I don't understand it is probably crucial. Let's check the game with the engine. Maybe he will show us the truth. I will show it to you right now, so you should see it. Yeah, knight f6. This is this is all the normal stuff. Bishop e7, knight c3, d6, d3, h6, knight d2, rook b8. Okay, rook b8 looks normal. Knight c4, b5, knight d3, castle, f4, b4, knight d5, knight d5, e d5, ef4, dc6. Okay, dc6 is okay. Uh, well, like assessing this position over the board, I knew that the position is equal, but when I was thinking about, I don't know what I was thinking about. I evaluated this position during the game that it is much better for white because he played f4. He gains space on the king side, but apparently it looks okay. F e3, bishop e3, bishop e6 is okay. Queen a5. Okay, the engine proposes d5 immediately. Okay, so to immediately close it. But I was thinking of rook a e1 in this moment. And after rook c8, I didn't like bishop h6 idea. Okay, this was rook c6. Rook c6 and he doesn't care. Okay, interesting. I played bishop g5. And bishop g5 would probably be okay if not this move a3. Wow, okay, a3 move. But I played rook f c8. Okay, so this is almost the top engine line. Rook f c8, a b4, c takes b4, rook a7, d5, rook a6, rook c7, c3. Okay, and b takes c3. Wow, rook bc8, a losing blunder because of the c4, the only move. Wow, rook bc8 is losing. And bc3, bc3, rook b8. No, not rook b1, but c4. dc4, d4, rook d8, d5, rook d5. Okay, and this and rook c5, bishop b7. The only moves, but it's this is the way I should play the position. Wow. And this is a draw, so a really subtle difference. But okay, b takes c3. Well, because if you look at this position, c4, d takes c4, you see these pawns together, close to the first line. Well, they look good, you know. So I should calculate the 10 move variation in order to understand that this endgame without the exchange is drawish, and this endgame which occurred in a game or which could occur in the game, this endgame is lost. Uh, yeah, this endgame is lost because I lost this important pawn, and this b2 pawn is making a difference because in the next 10 moves it becomes a passer and it wins a game. Wow. Okay. So well, uh, I am not that sad right now because I didn't play that bad. I think I even played a good game, but one slight mistake decided the whole game. This b takes c3 idea. Rook b8 is losing. Wow, just attacking the pawn because the maneuver is c3 and c4 is winning. Okay, yes, chess is strange game. Chess is strange game. I am playing chess 15 years and I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. Well, okay. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. So one move decided the game. Shit happens. Okay. But, the main conclusions are definitely that I have chosen the opening I wasn't really familiar with, and it didn't really fit my style of play, and also about time management and calculating variations, because bc3 was definitely the thing to calculate, but instead I played rook bc8. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. Tough day, tough and exhausting day, but it is how it is. Tomorrow, the next double round, so I need to go sleep and keep the energy and still keep fighting. Thank you once again. Good night. Bye bye.